What's that D stand for?
So what happens when you combine Mega Man X and Final Fantasy? Well, you get Mega Man X Command Mission, a strange hybrid game for the GameCube, the purple lunchbox, that no one expected to be good. Not even me. And I have D-class expectations. They're not that great. Hi everyone, I'm Ash, your D-class hero, and welcome to my review of Mega Man X Command Mission. So to kick things off, what are my thoughts about this game? X Command Mission was a truly unique installment in the Mega Man X series because it had a different combat system. It wasn't the usual side-scroller action platform we're used to from an X game or a Mega Man game as a whole. It wasn't anything like Mega Man Zero where you had hack and slash mechanics. It wasn't like X where you had, jump and shoot, okay, slide, dash, whatever. No, we had turn-based combat that required you to think on your feet, have actual strategy, and not be brain dead. Like CD. And me. Mostly me. So, why is that important? Well, with X Command Mission, we got a lot of unique characters, a lot of original characters that you don't see any other time in the Mega Man franchise at all. So, with that being said, I'm just going to go into the story real quick. The story is pretty simple. X and Zero on this mission, they're investigating this thing called the Metal Force. Because there's always some kind of weird force, some kind of metal, some kind of power-up, some kind of object of power. Raiders Lost Ark, you know, that stuff. It's forbidden. It's forbidden. Anyway, everyone wants it. It's some kind of power source. You collect it as you go through the entire game. But in this one opening tower fight, or tower area, you learn the combat, you learn the turn order, how that works. It's not your usual turn order. You don't go, okay, I go, you go, I go, you go, I go, you go. No, not like that at all. It is based on your team's speed. The more speed you have, the earlier your turn is in the order. Now, there are abilities that can augment this to give you an earlier turn. You can have a slow character go first if you do the right setup or the right abilities, which I like a lot. But it gets to the top of the tower, your one extra teammate who's kind of not important dies, and X wakes up in Giga City. Now, Giga City is this hub world that's going to be your primary, again, hub, where you get all your items, all your healing stuff, all your power-ups, all your weapons, everything. You just come here, do a mission, maybe do a couple side missions, collect stuff, buy things, talk to unimportant NPCs, and that's it. Now, like with any Mega Man game, there's always Sigma. Well, every X game, there's always Sigma. Sigma's everywhere. You can't keep a good villain down. Unfortunately, I got stuck with CD, and there's nothing I can do about that. I wish I had a good villain on my team here, because I guarantee this channel will be a little more interesting. Then again, I'm not really a good hero, so I guess it kind of balances itself out. But with that being said, Sigma's doing his thing, collecting more of this Metal Force, saying out his generals, who are all very unique in design. Some are big, some are small, some are not exactly human, and some are. And I like the variety. The variety of enemies that you fight throughout each mission is very nice. Some have their own little personality quirks that just kind of make them stand out more so than the other ones. And that's a big plus in my opinion, because if you can make a memorable one-off character, then you did a good job. Now, speaking of one-off characters, the majority of X's team are one-off characters. You meet tons of characters like Steel Massimo, Nana, Marino, and then we have Cinnamon, Axel, Spider, X himself. He's on his own team. If he wasn't, I'd be very upset. And Zero. Now, all these characters are very unique. They all have their own original designs that you never see anywhere else in the X series ever again, which is kind of disappointing. One of my favorite characters is Spider, and you meet him very early on in the game, pretty much after your first mission. He is a mercenary hired to kill X, much like Vile in the earlier games. Why is this important? Well, he fails, and he joins your team. That's not going to bite you in the ass later. Said no one. But basically, he's like, hey, the money's not worth it. You need help? Hire me. I'll take, whatever I can as payment. And so you just journey on from there. You fight, you go to different areas in the world. You go to deserts, you go to frozen tundras, you go to forests, underwater see places, laboratory things. And you meet all your other team. Steel Massimo is a Reploid who is convinced he is the original Steel Massimo. He's actually a knockoff character. He is not confident in his abilities once he finds out he's a fake. And I like him probably the most of any character in the game because he has actual character development in the one level he's in. He meets the pretty much remains of the original Steel Massimo, who is still functional until he pretty much just shuts down. It's like, hey, there are people who need your help. You know, step it up, take on my name, live on as a legend, and just do good. Kind of a weird pep talk, but it works. And he becomes the best tank character in your entire party. He is literally the tank character. He is the highest defense. He has the biggest health pool. He is meant to pretty much take hits. And each character has their own kind of motif in terms of an RPG. X and Zero, your typical main characters, don't really count. We got Nana, who is a ninja. She is your rogue character. She is fast. She can actually augment the turn order in which you can get multiple hits in on an enemy before they even get a turn to attack you, which is great against certain bosses. There have been times where I've gotten a combo off where I have attacked an enemy 6, 7, 8 times before they even got a turn, which is great, especially for certain bosses that can just wreck you in a single move. She has saved me so many times. Then we have Cinnamon, who is our cleric. She has low health, but high healing. You want to keep her just massive amounts of healing. Just all the healing. Protect your healer. Protect your healer. I'm talking to all those people who play Overwatch. You know what I'm talking about. She's going to be very helpful because you always want her on your team whenever you're hurt. You get to characters like Axel. Axel has the unique ability to copy enemies. Kind of not important, doesn't really do much, but if you defeat a boss, and you have the roulette. The roulette allows you to select a certain boss character, and when you do so, you pretty much copy their abilities for one turn that can either buff your team, debuff the opposing team, or deal massive amounts of damage. It's incredibly helpful. Spider has a similar ability, but that's mostly for him just putting out damage. Not really buffs, not really convenient, that's basically it. As you go through the game, you go to all the different areas, you defeat all the bosses, get more of the Metal Force, because you're collecting it for what reason? We don't really have an important reason other than keep it out of Sigma's hands. And you lose someone along the way. You lose Spider, the mercenary who was hired to kill you. I can't emphasize that enough. He was hired to kill you. And it turns out he is double-crossing you, faking his death and stealing the important metal, forbidden power stuff that you were collecting this entire time because you weren't going to use it. You weren't going to use it at all. I know somewhere out there, CD is watching this video and just kind of giving me the nods like, yeah? Good guys never use that important, powerful thing to do something. Never. Ever. So he double-crosses you, he steals the metal, and pretty much becomes like a godlike being, and it's dumb. The storyline's not the greatest, but it's a fun game. When he gets to the final boss, there's actually a way to break the game, and that's with Zero. If he used Nana and steals certain items off the final boss, and equip them to Zero, you can pretty much make his damage so high you can annihilate anyone, which would be great, except once you beat the game there's no replay value. There really isn't. Once you beat the game you just start back off at that same save point before the final boss and that's it, which is kind of unfortunate because if it had more replay value and you got to carry over a lot of the items you collected, you could do different kind of runs, different kind of setups, and you know, just have more of a ball with it. But on the plus side, there is a secret boss that you can get access to after you beat the final boss once. And this is Ninetail, or Foxtail, or whatever his name is. He's a fox, he's got multiple tails. You fight him 9 times. Why 9 times? Because apparently in Japanese mythology there's a nine-tailed fox that is 900 years old or older. And with each time you defeat this boss, he dies, you get some kind of reward. You go back down to another level, there he is again, one more tail, he's a little bit stronger, so on and so forth. So you equip Zero with those 2 pieces of broken equipment you get off the final boss. You augment his power to do 9,999 damage per hit. And if you know Zero and use his ultimate ability, which is Absolute Zero, where he turns black, he grows wings, and can annihilate anyone with a frozen cold touch. Doing so, you do massive amounts of damage to a single target very fast and very aggressively. To which point, that's all you really need. You don't need the other team to survive, to be honest. Each character has an ultimate ability that kind of changes their physical form. For Steel Massimo, he becomes more of a tank. X becomes a literal tank. He becomes Ultimate X, who is basically load out the wazoo with guns, cannons, lasers, and whatnot. I've already explained Absolute Zero. Axel does a transformability thing. Nana turns silver, which is the Quicksilver form, which actually boosts your entire team's speed, which is fantastic. Cinnamon has the ability to just kind of mass heal everyone, which is incredibly helpful if you're in a pinch. All these abilities add a whole nother layer of combat, because a lot of the boss enemies have a similar ability that increases their power tenfold. And just using the right combination of abilities, power-ups, right moves in battle at the right time, you can either win or lose at a very close fight. And that's one thing I love about the game. It requires a whole nother level of strategy outside of, okay, it's my turn, then it's your turn, and back and forth, back and forth. No, your entire turn order is based off your abilities and your speed. And this can be augmented at any point in the fight, which is great. So, moving on, that's pretty much the story, the combat, and everything. And it's all completely different. Why would I recommend this game to anyone? Well, for this game, I personally enjoyed it. I played this game a lot on the GameCube, the purple lunchbox, when I was a kid. And it left a special impression on me because all the characters were original. You never see them again after this game. They all had their own little quirks and personality traits that made them stand out, which is very nice. Combat was fun because I had such a hard time strategizing at that age. I was like 12 or something. It was early 2000s or whatnot. And I love a challenge. I love a difficult game. This was a different kind of X game. It wasn't your typical side-scrolling platformer shooter. It wasn't like Mega Man Zero was hack and slash side-scrolling with, levels and levels of movements. It was a turn-based Final Fantasy-like Mega Man X game where you got original characters to fight as different positions in an RPG. Your rogue, your tank, your cleric, your whatever. It's very different. I got many, many hours of enjoyment out of it. I would recommend this to anyone who wants to see an original cast of characters with varying personalities, a fun story, if not a basic one, but overall a great game. I enjoyed it very, very much. So, in the comments below, I'd like to hear everyone's opinion. Have you played Mega Man X Command Mission? If you have, what are your impressions of it? Do you think it's a good game? Do you think it's a bad game? If you haven't, then tell me, what is your opinion on a turn-based action RPG game for Mega Man? I mean, we have Battle Network, which was a little bit more active, but tell me, what are your thoughts on it? Please like, subscribe, comment below, and I got no closing statements. I'm just going to leave it right there, guys. See ya!